Uh, how's it going, y'all? It's been a while. I just woke up from a nap and I thought, hey, let me just film this video real quick. You know, it's been a while since we had a conversation, so it's only right if I just filmed this video, right? No, but for real, how you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing great. Um, Today I kind of want to touch on a topic that has been on my mind for a while now, and I kind of want to expand on the topic of well-being. You know, in a day and age where hustle and grind culture has been highly promoted and pushed, I feel like a lot of us are neglecting our well-being and our mental health, and the five healths, as I call it. The physical health, the mental health, the emotional health, the spiritual health, the financial health. And ironically, you know financial health is also kind of linked with hustle culture, because you don't grind, you don't eat. However, I do feel like we can always create a balance between grinding and working hard for the things that we want, but also not neglecting the part of us that actually helps us you know go for the things that we want. If we neglect and kind of ignore our physical and mental emotional needs, eventually we're gonna break down. you know Burnouts are inevitable if you keep neglecting these areas of your life. Well-being is such an important factor when it comes to success. And I don't think a lot of people talk about it enough, because you know working working a lot of hours in a week is very, very attractive. You're giving all your time and energy to your employer. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, like, well, hold on, how much time am I even giving to myself? How much effort, how much attention am I even giving to my body and my own inner well-being in a man? You know, because we wake up in the morning and then we rush to work, and then we come back home, and then you know we rush to do whatever, or we ignore ourselves, really. Sitting down on the couch and watching Netflix is not really spending time with yourself, unless done intentionally. If it's just you just relaxing and just chilling, and just saying, okay, I just need to rest. But if you're just doing it to doing it because it's become an unconscious habit to do, then there's no intention behind it, and in the end, you're kind of just wasting time. you know so that's really kind of what I want to expand on today. Well-being is such a is so important. I cannot stress it enough. It's so important. I feel like, for me personally, whenever I'm not focusing on my own mental health, and I'm not focusing on, or I'm just ignoring certain alarms that are going on in my emotional well-being, I kind of it kind of snowballs into a lot of things, and eventually that's when I become uninspired, and that's when I become unmotivated, and I fall into ruts. But the moment I'm able to catch it firsthand, and I'm able to deal with it right away, it has no room to grow. It's kind of like fungus, or I call it emotional fungus. You don't When you catch it early, it doesn't grow into something that you will need something greater, or you need a greater remedy for. So when you catch it, or when you start focusing, or you start making well-being your main priority, and that means different things for everybody, right? For certain people, it's exercise and an X amount of times a week. For other people, it's seeing their friends regularly. For other people, it's walking their dogs in the park. It's a different scenario for everybody. But you have to kind of discover, you know, what it is for you, what well-being means for you. Me personally, I know that when I wake up in the morning, my morning routine is a very, very essential and integral part of my day. When I cannot rush, I truly admire people that can do that, can just wake up in the morning and brush their teeth and then, or, as others do, wake up in the morning and just go straight to social media and start scrolling. I've really I'm not in that, and I used to do that. I'm not gonna sit on my high horse and act like I've not been in that stage in my life before. But at the point in time, I just realized that, waking up in the morning and going straight to social media and see who's doing what and who's talking about who, all that does not really conform to my to the betterment of my day. It does not. So when I noticed that, I kind of just removed it. Right now I'm spending a lot of time out of social media and spending a lot of time in the real world, and it's been a very great journey. I'm loving it. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back on social media, and by social media I just mean Instagram. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go back, but if I do go back, maybe I'm gonna learn how to use it more intentional rather than just using it to to lose myself, rather than just use it as a form of yeah, that's a form of a way to pass time or something like that. But yeah, like I was saying, your morning routine is a very, very important part of your day. If you just wake up in the morning, and like I said, I admire people who can do that. Wake up in the morning and just go straight into work mode. I can't. I need to really relax and start my day smoothly. I need to start my day slow. I can't. Whenever I start my day fast, it feels like everything is just falling down on me. So also discovering a morning routine that works for you. Starting your day slow helps you calm down, and you're able to deal with things more rational rather than stressing. you know there are so many things that I personally do not stress about because I'm able to calm my inner self, and that way I'm able to stand strong regardless of whatever situation I'm presented with. you know so that is basically really why well-being is so important. We've been programmed. We live in a society where we've been programmed to kind of live unconscious, to go unconscious, and we can definitely notice the effects that it's having on us. Burnouts are at its all-time high. And it's kind of it's very silly to me because I'm like, well, you work so hard, days after days after days after days, and then you spend the next months at home because you're sick. And I'm like, well, you're not really making any progress then. You're kind of just running in place because there's no progress being made. Rather than when you learn to create a balance between work and personal, time, you can work as many hours a week as you want, but you're still able to find a sweet spot where you're like, okay, I need to pull back a little bit. And the funny thing about focusing on well-being is you know exactly when the alarms are sounding, and you know exactly when to pull back and relax and chill and just and just work on yourself, and put that attention, and know when to put attention on yourself, and rather than putting your attention on the outside world. you know and it sounds a bit woo-woo, but really it's facts. It's really how it is. It is what it is. I'm never gonna work myself to death. It's not gonna happen. I am a hard worker, and I do my best, but I'm never gonna put myself in a situation where I don't feel like I'm not, I'm never gonna put myself in a situation whereby I have the feeling that I'm not taking good care of myself enough. My well-being comes first. If I'm not good, nobody's good. It really is like that. If I'm not good, nobody's good. If I'm not taking good care of myself, I'm not going to be able to work as efficient as much as possible. So eventually my employer is not going to be even happy with me. If I'm not giving myself love, I cannot give anybody love. You can't give what you don't have. So you always remember that it starts with you. It always starts with you. What do you feel like you can give the outside world, or what do you think you've been giving the outside world that you've not been giving yourself? Once you start making notes of that, and you kind of pull back from, okay, you know what, I'm not gonna put them first. Kind of sometimes you just got to be selfish a little bit like that. I'm not gonna give this first until I've given it to myself. I'm not gonna give love first until I have experimented it on myself. How does it feel to love myself? Because there are a lot of people that are looking for love, but then how do you expect to be loved if you don't know what type of love you desire? And that first step, taking that first step, starts from you giving yourself that love, experimenting with what type of things do I like. There are a lot of people who rush into relationships and then eventually get there, and then they realize that, wait, I don't even know what my love language is. I don't even know what it is that I expect or what I want for my partner. Then they put all that pressure on the other person to really figure it out. And nobody got time for that. Nobody has time to figure out what you need to give yourself, or what your needs are. Nobody has time for that. You need to know what you want, so that the other person can kind of fit right into that, and kind of present you with what you want. So that's really a segue into another topic. But so how do we start making well-being our main priority? And I think I kind of touched on it a little bit by pointing out the morning routines. So you have to kind of figure out what it is that how does well-being look like for me. What are the things that I do that makes me feel good. And I remember on my self-improvement journey, when I first started with self-improvement, I remembered, hey, when I do this, when I meditate, I feel better. When I journal, I feel better. Okay, so when I spend time in nature, I feel better. And I started making notes of all these things, and they kind of came together as tools and techniques that I will use in my weekly or in my daily life to kind of put me together. I know, all these techniques have their own respective strengths. All the things that they do for me, prayer, reading, all these things are just, things that I use to make myself feel good, to make me pull myself together. So you have to figure out what it is. The first step is kind of figuring out what tools and techniques works for you, because what might work for somebody else might not work for you. A training plan that works for somebody else might not work for you, because our bodies work differently. Just as meal plans too. Meal plans that work for other people might not work for you. So you have to kind of go discover what it is, what does self or what does well-being mean for you, what it is. Maybe spending time with your family every once in a while, if you live far away from each other, is also a part of can be a part of well-being. Or taking your dog out for a walk, or whatever that is for you. You kind of have to just discover it for yourself, and then moving on, making it a habit to consistently do these habits. Don't just do them for a while and then go back to your old life, or go back to your old routines. Kind of make it a habit to start from you first. Let it start from you. Focus on you. Put the focus on you first, and then let that focus shine so bright that it shines and illuminates your outside world. So that's kind of where you have to start from, the discovery of what self or well-being means for you. and making it a routine and making it a habit, and put it all that focus onto you. And you also realize that once you start focusing on yourself, everything on your outside, everything in your daily life kind of starts to move differently. For example, I'm making it a habit to be grateful every single day. It doesn't have to be something as big, but just waking up and saying, "Hey, I'm able to move my limbs, and I'm able to move my arms, and I'm able to breathe." Is something I'm grateful for, because I don't need any assistance to that. I don't need any type of assistance to breathe, to be able to eat, to be able to move. Being grateful for the little things that I overlook is part of my well-being. Listening to my favorite podcast is my favorite. It's my form of well-being. I don't drink, I don't smoke. Well, I'm minimizing my drinking, and I don't know. I don't have the desire to really drink, but I don't smoke. So that is not really part of my well-being. I don't think, you know, I, it's different for everybody. I'm not here to judge, but yeah. So the main point is, to discover what that means for you, and lean more into that, and discover also other things, because one thing is, when you discover one thing, other things come together to also make it a whole. And before you know it, you've kind of figured out a whole set of routines that come together to keep you going and keep you together, because it's very, very easy to lose it lose it out there when you're not focusing on yourself. I see it a lot of times. I see a lot of people falling off because they're not making, for example, exercising main their main one of their main focuses. Moving your body is very, very essential. It's very, very essential to your well-being, to your mental health. Because understand that you are what, 80% water, but the other things in your body, like blood needs to be able to move freely through your body for you to be able to feel better. So if you're not moving intentionally, and no, if you're just working, that doesn't mean you're exercising. You might be exercising, but there's everything happens with intention. If your intention is not exercising, then you're not exercising. You know what I mean? So make it a time, even if it's just 30 minutes per 3 times a week. People underestimate how much you can do in such a short amount of time, in such a short span. 30 minutes for 3 times a week, exercising, doing some type of hit workout, can mean so much to your well-being, and to your you know to your health. That's something that people ignore. Exercise is so important. Making eating healthier your a habit. I don't even eat healthy to lose weight anymore. That's not my main focus. Like, recently I discovered that, hey, I actually like it more when I'm training abs. I'm training my core. I like it more when I have a strong core. So I started exercising my core more, not because I want to have a six-pack. I mean, I do have a six-pack. Doesn't matter. But I realized that training my core just makes me feel good. It makes me walk in a different way, and I kind of feel better, and I feel more straight. I feel more, I'm more, yeah, I just walk more straight, for the lack of better terms, when I train core, and I feel stronger, because your core kind of holds your whole body together. So intention is what everything is about. When you have a deep intention of why you're doing what you're doing, it makes the process fun, and it makes it much better, because you understand why you're doing it, and you have a reason why you're doing it. So I implore everybody to, the watchers of this video, to kind of focus more on your well-being. Put that focus on yourself. Lock your phone away for a while, and kind of treat yourself to a something. Treat yourself to a read your favorite book, or go out for a walk. Go out for a run. Spend some time in the sun. you know play your favorite music, whatever makes you happy. Focus on that, and lean more into that, and you realize that everything else starts to, flow, and everything starts to, make sense, and you just become an all-around better person, for yourself and for the people around you. So that's kind of, I know I've been rumbling, going back and forth on the same thing, but the main point is to, make wellness and well-being a priority. Make you a priority. Put that focus on yourself, and everything else will flow in, the direction it's supposed to. So, thank you guys for tuning in again. It's your boy Oscar. If you find us an enlightening video, I would appreciate it if you hit a thumbs up down below. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys hopefully very soon. Peace.